Imagine confidently verifying the legitimacy and status of any New York business in just a few clicks. Whether you're an entrepreneur, investor, or consumer, this essential skill could save you time, money, and risk. Welcome to today's Explainer. I'm your host, and we're going to break down exactly how you can navigate the New York State Business Registry like an absolute pro.
So, can you really verify a New York business that quickly? The short answer is yes. Now, I know interacting with government databases usually sounds like a totally dry, soul-crushing task, right? But today's Explainer is going to transform all that into an empowering, highly accessible superpower for anyone dealing with businesses in New York. We're essentially taking all the guesswork out of due diligence to give you the exact tools you need to protect yourself and your business.
Here is our roadmap for today. 1. Why verify New York businesses? 2. Navigating the DOS portal. 3. Decoding search results. 4. Avoiding search pitfalls. 5. New LLC transparency rules. And finally, 6. Final tips and disclaimers.
Section 1. Why verify New York businesses? The stakes of due diligence. Look, before you sign a contract or wire a vendor thousands of dollars, you've got to know exactly who you're dealing with. New York is home to over 2 million small businesses, and honestly, a fancy website or a slick business card just isn't enough proof anymore. Checking a business's status helps you avoid scams by confirming they literally legally exist. You can verify your supply chain, ensure regulatory compliance, and hey, if it's your own business, you need an active status to secure a loan, open a bank account, or expand across state lines. It is the absolute foundation of your legal and financial credibility.
And that verified active status ultimately leads to this, the Certificate of Status. Now, you might know this as a Certificate of Good Standing if you operate in other states. It's basically a one-page legal document with the official seal of the New York Department of State. When you need absolute proof for a bank or an investor that a company is compliant, this is the gold standard document you're going to order once you've successfully verified them.
Section 2. Navigating the DOS portal, your primary tool.
Okay, so to verify a business or get that certificate of status, we aren't going to rely on random third-party websites that might have outdated info. We're going straight to the source. First, you'll want to navigate to the official New York Department of State, or DOS, Public Inquiry Portal. It's completely free and updated daily. Second, choose your search type, either by business name or ID. Third, apply your filters, like if you only want to see active entities. And finally, review your results. It's actually a surprisingly logical interface, even for complete beginners.
Now, when you search, you've got a really crucial choice to make. You can search by business name, but that can yield hundreds of messy, similar results, especially if it's a super common name like, say, New York Pizza. Plus, name searches are incredibly sensitive to punctuation. But searching by the DAS ID, boom! You get one exact, precise, and guaranteed match with absolutely zero noise.
So, what exactly is a DOS ID? It's a 7-digit number. Think of it kind of like a business's social security number within the New York's registry. It's a permanent, unique identifier assigned to the entity the very moment it's formed. Whenever you can, definitely default to searching by this number. It will save you a massive headache.
Section 3. Decoding your search results. What the data means.
All right, once you successfully query a business and click on their profile, you're hit with a wall of data. Here's your cheat sheet to interpret it like a pro. Active means they are currently operating and compliant. Inactive means they are no longer operating. Suspended is a major red flag. That usually means they lost their authority, often because they missed New York's strict LLC publication requirement. And dissolved means their legal existence has completely ended. Dealing with a suspended or dissolved business carries massive risk, so always ensure that status says active.
Beyond just the status, that public profile gives you a treasure trove of metadata. You'll see their formation date, their county, and their jurisdiction, meaning if they were formed in New York or if they're a foreign entity from another state. But there are 2 vital things to look out for here. First, the Service of Process or SOP address. This is exactly where legal notices have to be served if they're ever sued. And second, their next biennial statement due date, which tells you exactly when they need to file their next compliance report to stay active.
Section 4. Avoiding common search pitfalls. Search like a pro.
So, what happens if you search for a business you know exists and get 0 results? Don't panic just yet. The system is pretty strict. First off, punctuation and special characters like ampersands can completely break a name match, so try simplifying your query or using the contains filter. Second, they might be operating under a DBA or doing business as name, meaning their registered legal name is entirely different. Third, brand new filings have a processing lag time. And fourth, and this is a big one, an active status with the Department of State does not guarantee they are compliant with the Department of Taxation. Those are completely separate departments.
There's also a massive structural limitation you need to be aware of. If you're looking for a sole proprietorship or a general partnership, you are never going to find them on the state DOS portal. Unincorporated entities are actually registered locally. So if you want to verify a sole proprietor operating in Manhattan, you'd have to search the archives of the New York County Clerk instead. It's a totally different system.
Section 5. New LLC Transparency Rules. The Future of Privacy.
Now, if you're an LLC owner in New York or you do business with them, the landscape of corporate privacy is undergoing a seismic shift right now. You might have heard of the Federal Corporate Transparency Act, but New York has actually created its own strict version. While the federal law applies to all entity types nationwide, the New York LLC Transparency Act applies strictly to New York LLCs and foreign LLCs authorized to do business there. And crucially, even if your LLC is exempt from the federal rules, New York still requires you to officially file an attestation of that exemption under penalty of perjury.
So, what's the exact timeline for all this compliance? Well, the Act takes effect on January 1st, 2026. Any LLC formed after that date has just 30 days to report their data. If you have an existing LLC formed before 2026, you've got until January 1st, 2027 to file. And unlike the federal law, New York is going to require an annual electronic statement just to confirm your data is up to date. If you fail to comply, your entity could be marked past due, delinquent, or ultimately suspended.
But what exactly are they reporting? They're reporting beneficial owners. Now, a beneficial owner is any individual who exercises substantial control over the LLC or anyone who owns or controls 25% or more of the ownership interests. You'll need to provide their name, date of birth, address, and a unique ID number. Thankfully, this information will be kept in a secure, non-public database by the state, so it won't just be published out there for the general public.
Section 6. Final tips and disclaimer. Wrapping up. We have covered a tremendous amount of ground today, so here is your actionable verification toolkit. Bookmark the official apps.dos.ny.gov portal so you don't fall for third-party scammers. Always default to searching by that 7-digit DOS ID for total precision. Remember that county records are for sole proprietors, not the state portal. Get yourself ready for the 2026 transparency reporting if you own an LLC. And finally, always keep copies of your status checks for your own due diligence files.
And of course, a quick but very important note. The information provided in today's explainer aims to be highly accurate and helpful, but it shouldn't be considered formal legal advice. Entity compliance can be really complex, and the laws do change. Always make sure to consult with a qualified legal or financial professional for your specific business concerns.
You now have the exact blueprint to navigate the state registry, decode the data, and spot those red flags. But as New York ushers in these sweeping new transparency laws, it really begs a much larger question. Are we witnessing the permanent end of corporate anonymity in America? If this explainer empowered you to do better business, please subscribe, hit like, and share it with a fellow entrepreneur who could use this superpower. Thanks for joining me today, and keep learning.